RC from the Mom and Top Joiner Shop here. The most amazing furniture maker you've never heard of is a dead guy. He lived from 1856 to 1940. Yet more than a century after he made them, his designs are still some of the most forward-thinking, mind-blowing displays of craftsmanship the world has ever seen. His name is Carlo Bugatti, and in 2019 I wrote an article about him for the August issue of Furniture and Cabinet Making magazine, which is a great woodworking mag I can easily recommend. This video is an adaptation of that article in which I talk about how Carlo Bugatti became Carlo Bugatti. I'll also explain how and why his furniture is instantly recognizable, unique to history, and well ahead of its time. If you're a furniture designer or aspiring to be one, you need to know about this guy. In 1902, at the first International Exhibition of Decorative Arts in Turin, none other than the Queen of Italy approached the furniture designer Carlo Bugatti to commend him for his Mauresque style. By this time, Bugatti was already internationally recognized for his participation in the red-hot Art Nouveau movement, and he knew it. Such was his self-assuredness, he was said to have corrected his sovereign without hesitation. "You're mistaken, my majesty. This style is mine." Well, wasn't that a bit cheeky? It could be argued that they were both right. Well, much of Bugatti's work during the two-decade span from 1890 to 1910 was very much in keeping with the flowing, sinuous character of the Art Nouveau movement. There was another thread to his work that was a departure not only from Art Nouveau, but arguably anything that had been seen before or since. This parallel body of work, while drawing from a variety of historical sources including Japanese art and calligraphy, Islamic architecture, and the tribal styles of North Africa, was at once both instantly recognizable as his and distinctly modern even by today's standards. Born February 2, 1856 in Milan, Italy, Carlo Bugatti wasn't the first nor the last in this family to exhibit such a remarkable creative drive. His father was an architect and sculptor. His first son, Notoriety, founded the car company, for which the Bugatti name is perhaps best known, and his second son, Rembrandt, was a brilliant bronze sculptor, specializing in wildlife subjects. Young Carlo studied at the Brera Academy in Milan, and after a stint working for a cabinet maker there, moved to Paris, where he continued his studies at the Académie des Beaux-Arts. He would continue to keep one foot planted in each of these cities for most of his working career. In 1880, when his sister Luigia was married to an old friend of Carlo's from Brera, painter Giovanni Segantini, Carlo created a bedroom set for her as a gift. This is his earliest known surviving work. Segantini would later be among many artists to collaborate with Carlo, decorating his furniture designs, and was the one who suggested the name Rembrandt for his son. Carlo's work first became known outside Italy in 1888 when he displayed his work at both the Industrial Arts Exhibition in Milan and the Italian Exhibition at Earl's Court in London. It was a time in which decorative arts in Europe were fervently searching for a new muse, looking to the architectural styles of the past, as well as artistic styles of exotic cultures from the East and Far East. Bugatti's unique yet harmonious blending of these influences soon gained him wealthy clients, and in greater recognition throughout Europe, culminating in his participation in the Turin Exhibition of Modern Decorative Arts in 1902, where he debuted his famous Snail Room, a work of pure fantasy that became such a sensation that the international jury awarded him the exhibition's highest prize, as the first in Italy to realize, rather than dream, modern furniture. Carlo's designs at this time could only be afforded by the wealthiest of clients. He created works for the aristocracy from London to Constantinople, but his experimentation with unorthodox materials like vellum increasingly failed to attract them. This prompted Bugatti to sell his furniture manufacturing facility in 1904 and open a smaller scale shop in Paris, where he branched out into other decorative arts, including vases, lamps, jewelry, musical instruments, and paintings. In 1910, Bugatti retired to Pierrefonds, where he was also mayor, and focused on painting and experimented with the perfect shape, an ovoid that would later be adapted for the radiator grills of his son Notoriet's cars. His August years would sadly be marked by a cruel succession of tragedies. In 1916, his son Rembrandt, who is said to have been thoroughly traumatized by his experience as a paramedic during the First World War, and struggling with his finances, committed suicide at the age of 31. In 1932, his daughter died, followed soon after by his wife. Now alone, he moved to Molsheim, France, near the Bugatti car factory, to be with Ettore. In 1939, his 30-year-old grandson, an engineer and test driver working for Ettore, died in a car accident. Carlo himself died in Molsheim, France in 1940, at the age of 84. In recognition for his resistance to the German occupation of Pierrefonds, where he was mayor, he was buried with full military honors in the family cemetery in nearby Dorlisheim. Bugatti's denial of influence notwithstanding, the Islamic architectural character of his work is both readily apparent and not entirely unsurprising. Like his father, he had received formal training as an architect, and while there is no evidence that any of his building designs were erected, the architectural nature of his Mauresque furniture is very much in evidence. Bugatti's furniture stands apart for many reasons, and perhaps foremost among them is his embrace of mixed materials. While his primary material was wood, he also made liberal use of vellum and parchment, copper, brass, tin, and pewter, cord, bone, mother of pearl, and animal hide. Let's look at some of his designs and try to parse out some of the strategies that make them so striking. Here's an example in which the Islamic influence on Bugatti's design is readily apparent. Arches. The front of this piece features a large horseshoe arch, which is ubiquitous in mosques the world over, but particularly in the southern regions of Spain where they are thought to have originated. Also present is the pointed lancet arch, clusters of turned columns, and repetitive geometric detailing. These architectural themes, as well as his complementary use of mixed media materials, are common to his work. Carlo Bugatti's designs draw inspiration from sources as disparate as Islamic architecture, Japanese arts, and the Art Nouveau movement, which was at its height during Bugatti's most productive years. This 1902 desk is an example of these elements coming together into one cohesive whole, as well as his embrace of the mixed media materials. The desk surface is covered in vellum, held in place with punched copper strapping, and the walnut legs are inlaid with pewter made to look like calligraphy. The desk is one of several works commissioned for the London residence of Lord Battersea. This octagonal occasional table features a striking asymmetric leg design that makes it appear almost extraterrestrial. We've all heard the phrase, "the future is now," but it seems that for Bugatti, the future was 1898, which was the year that this piece was made. While Bugatti's traditional influences were many, some of his designs seem to originate in pure fantasy, and aren't clearly derived from one or even many sources. This is evidenced by the name of his business in Milan, Fabbrica Mobili Artistici Fantasia. The upper portion of this 1895 secretary places a mirror behind rows of turned columns. The effect is the same as this reflecting pool in the Alhambra Palace in Granada, Spain, which visually doubles the perceived depth and symmetry of the archways. As for where you can go to view his work in person, there aren't a ton of options. Most of it's in private collections, for better or worse. But here are a few of the places I've come across a piece or two. If you're aware of others, please share them in the comments section. I'd like to know myself. For the modern furniture designer slash builder, there are many lessons that can be taken from Bugatti's work: an embrace of asymmetry, drawing inspiration from other cultures and other avenues of artistic expression, and the use of any material that serves to enhance the design. Likewise, his example teaches us to be unafraid to build a bridge spanning past tradition and future fantasy, and to blaze our own paths with both daring and panache. In daring to develop his own style, he created a unique legacy that belongs to all of us, and for that, Carlo Bugatti deserves to be remembered. Now, if you like what you saw here, please hit like and subscribe. It would help me out a lot. Also hit the little bell icon if you want to be notified anytime I release a new video. And if you didn't like what you saw here, keep it to yourself, pal. Or watch one of my other videos. You might like one of those. Thank you for watching.